So piggybacking off of and this is probably the last topic we'll get to tonight, and we'll look forward to covering a lot more topics here in the coming months, but so tournament fishing lends itself, and just being a guide in general. We were talking about this before the camera was on, just boat etiquette in general. And there's a lot of new boat owners out there and guys that are first-time tournament fishermen, and there's a lot of unwritten rules to boat etiquette. And I just thought it would be interesting to get all of your guys' perspective on the do's and don'ts. Jeff, especially starting with you. I mean, you're a guide. You have to deal with it every day, and with a lot of boat traffic. What if you had to pick a few do's and don'ts? What would you say?
Oh man, I mean, you know, just that common courtesy. You know, don't crowd into somebody. I don't crowd in on anybody.
Mm-hmm.
If I see somebody pulling in on a fence row, I'm not going to jump 5 trees ahead of them and try to fence that.
When does crowding in stop? Is it 50 yards, 100 yards,
I mean,
that whole entire
bank?
bank?
You know.
Yeah.
You know, how close do you want me to you?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how close I want you to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that sort of thing.
That's a great statement. I mean,
It is.
if people would think about that before they make the move, well, how would I feel if I was there and all of a sudden he pulled in 10 trees in front of me?
Yeah.
If they'll just think about that.
Yeah.
If it crosses your mind that, oh man, I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna make this. That's right. That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
Or if you gotta look over your shoulder,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Right.
And as a guide, dude, I want to hang out with everybody. I've talked to David 75 times on the water
Oh my
guide
gosh.
trips.
All the
We've
time.
visited and
Yeah.
everything else, but like sometimes I get people that come and they visit and they talk and they ask a lot of questions. And I got 2 clients in the boat, like, who is this clown? You know what I mean?
Right.
You're like, hey, dude, I'll call you tonight or something.
And you're trying to do your job.
Yeah, and it's not, I don't want to visit with you, I got these 2 people here.
They
that
paid you.
Yes.
I kind of got to pay attention
Yeah,
to it.
like I said, we'll wheel over, hey dude, what's up, man, bite's been good, blah, blah, blah.
And
then see you later.
Yeah,
You know,
that's it.
But you get some that come and visit for a while, and you're like, hey man, I gotta go, and I've left spots. you
Yeah.
know. And then, you know, just, social media is so bittersweet anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care if it's tournament fishermen, guide fishermen, you know, Dillon, myself, you know, if somebody comes over, and especially if it's 2 or 3 days in a row, you know, we'll get on a pattern, and if we're lucky, we can stick with it for a few days with clients. And, you know, if we get on a pattern and somebody sees us there 2 days in a row, and they see our social media that we just pounded them, they're going to be there 30 minutes earlier than you are.
Right.
And, you know, that's the nature of the beast. That's the nature of social media, and it's changed the game a little bit, but there's nothing you can really do about it.
Mm-hmm.
You adapt and overcome like any good guy should.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just what it is, man.
Common courtesy, that's the main thing it boils down to.
It is. It is.
Is there anything when it comes into tournament fishermen with bass? I mean, I figured there's got to be some stuff specifically that would be
Go ahead,
interesting to
Dave.
touch.
If you're like in a national championship in Florida last December and you find fish 300 yards offshore, and you would think you're safe, but literally from here to your truck, Dave, I watched the winners. I mean, it was just so, we were so close to each other. There were probably 18 or 20 teams all inside of 400-yard
Oh my
grass
gosh.
bed.
Yeah. Yes.
And we literally,
Yes.
third place teams over here and the first place teams over here. You found the winning fish. Now can you put them in the box?
Yeah.
And can you watch the other guys do it and not melt down?
And that's where you have to have,
Blinders.
you just have to have that level of concentration and to block this out.
Because there aren't any rules when it comes to that. When we're all fishing
If
for
you've all found essentially the same group of fish using this grass bed, nobody's going to go and, okay, I'll give it to you. No, we're fishing.
Yeah,
We're fishing
We're fishing for money.
Yeah.
We have money invested.
Yeah.
It's not the prize money. We're not like, oh my gosh, I can pay the mortgage if I win. No, I have 1,500. As long as I get my 1,500 back, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
we got money.
This was a spot for the Bassmaster Classic.
Yeah.
This was a
This
big
is
deal.
Big deal.
Big
It's
deal.
making the classic.
And ain't nobody in that field gonna, I mean, literally, we come between here and the rail over there, fishing that close to each other. And you're on spot lock, and they
Yeah.
might not have spot lock, so they're
Right.
moving around and,
Sure.
you know, the hair gets up on your neck. Oh, that guy is too close.
Right.
I can cross his line with my line.
Yeah.
So how do you have a conversation with guys on the water when you're having issues without it?
It's, hey.
We text.
Would you care to share one of those?
Yeah. That ass clown beat you there this morning, Dylan.
So the last thing in the world that you ever want to hear, the two words come out of my mouth when I start a sentence is, "Hey man." That's not what you want to hear come from me.
Yeah.
Because what's going to follow is probably not very tasteful, but it's effective.
Yeah.
I don't know. Most of the time in those big situations, you could get mouthy, and all they're gonna do is maybe go get on the other side of somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're not thinking.
Well, that gets them on the other side of somebody else and not you. So,
It depends on the event, depends on where it
it
is.
is.
If you ever traveled 2,000 miles to go fish something, I would tell you to not expect somebody to get out of your way.
No.
So here's a great piece of advice for people that are considering fishing close to somebody. Just ask.
Yeah.
You got to have a working relationship with that boat.
When you're coming in, you
Yeah.
just go, hey, here's what I'm thinking about doing.
Absolutely.
Is that going to affect what you're getting ready to do? And if they say yes, then you go figure out a new way to do it.
Yeah.
And you do not do what you know is going to affect what they're already there. They beat you there.
That's right.
It's theirs.
And piggyback on that, if you gotta ask, go somewhere else.
Somewhere else.
Classic example is that if you fish, no, it's fine. If you fish Kentucky Lake in June, okay, and if you get boat number 123, you are not getting on the first 10 or 15 primary spots on the lake. I can guarantee you there's 2 boats on each, if not 3. So there's no sense in even thinking about going and looking at any of that stuff. You've got to make lemonade. So, okay, well, I know that I fished this or fished that or whatever. And so those are the things that when you come home, and like I said, that other team that happened to win last week that had the big weight, we have been fierce competitors in the same water, with one of us winning, one of us having an opportunity to blow the other one's doors off and 2 fish come off. So I know what that's like to share that water with another team that is a very tough competitor, and you just have to work through it. Like what Mike alludes to, it's like, look, are you going up in this creek? If so, where's your cutoff? Where's my cutoff? I'm not going to fish above this. I'll give you that. I'm not going to give you that. You guys can fish from here back. I'm going up. You know, it's got to work. You know, if both of you are going to be successful and be able to catch what you need to catch, I'm not saying catch what you think you should have caught because of that other boat's here, but catch what you need to catch. There has to be an on-the-water working relationship. And if there's not, then you have to cross that bridge when you come to it.
We're super blessed because we're out of the tournament deal. You know, it's different for a tournament situation. 99.9% of the time, 99.9. There is a lot, but a lot of our people respect the fact that we're working. You know what I mean? Like, they got a job to do.
And it takes time. As beginners, they don't know these things.
No.
Yeah, they have no idea. They're clueless, and you know, and that's. I don't know if it's okay or not, but it happens. But you know, and as the person on the receiving end of something you didn't like, your tone and the way you approach that, first go out, you know, and say, hey, you know, if you're new to this is kind of one of them deals, and then the feedback you get from that person can lead to how you react the next time. Go about, figure out what you should and should not do. And
To me, and I haven't fished bass tournament in a long time. I used to bass fish quite a bit, but I don't anymore. And if it's like under 3 foot of water, beat bank and bite, or bank beat bite, I don't know. In the crappie game, it's way, way, way different than the bass game because everybody's tied up in 2 miles of water.
Right.
yeah.
2 miles of water, and the whole tournament, I don't care if there's 60 boats in it or 120, they're 2 miles of water.
Well, some bass tournaments are that way, like Florida.
So, what I want to end on is to be a bass professional is more than just catching fish. The way that you handle yourself and handle situations is as much, because what Mike was alluding to is me, myself. I'm not only a tournament competitor, I own my own business within the fishing industry. I don't want somebody at the end of the day going, you know what? David Ryan's a really great angler, but he's a jerk. He's a jackass. I'll never buy anything from him. I want them to know that I am honest and upfront and will communicate with everyone and handle myself in a professional manner, because that's what makes a professional angler. No matter whether it's a professional crappie angler, walleye, catfish, whatever it might be, you have to handle yourself in a professional manner. And that way, what you project sometimes makes people go, you know what, I want to be like that dude.
Yep.
That dude handles himself well, even though everyone around sees that guy just cut him off. But guess what? He didn't cuss him. He didn't do anything. He just said, hey man, how are you doing today? Are you catching them? Well, great. That's awesome. You know, you've got to be that guy, because everybody wants to be around that guy.
Yeah.
You know, so that's my 2 cents worth on that.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I wouldn't like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't like that.
Yeah.
I can promise you.
I'm coming around you.
It's a lot different when you step into that professional level.
Yeah.
We're saying,
I mean,
so-
that exact sentiment has got to be amplified even more for an actual guide. Your whole reputation.
Oh, years ago, I have jumped in another boat.
Oh.
I have left my boat into another boat. Before
We had
I was doing it.
I told you to last week.
I've been there.
Yeah, he told me to jump in last week. Like,
We had a crappie masters event on Truman Lake, and we were out. I was out filming the tournament. Okay?
Yep.
So I got to see where all the big fish were getting caught. And like Jeff says, it's always in the same area. And it's not. And I already know this, and everybody, most of the tournament anglers know that. And you know, one time it might be here, here, or here. But anyways, the very next week we had a tournament that Dillon and I fished in, and we knew them fish were there. I mean, he knew that we already knew they was there. But I watched Matthew Rogers, you know, just pound them. And I watched the second place and the third. I watched the top 10 on day 2. I filmed every top 10 team and seen where they was fishing, and they weren't in spots any different than anywhere before. So anyway, the next week we're fishing a tournament, and we go out and we scan, we find these fish, and I'm like, man, they're still in some of these same areas. And so getting back to saying you don't want to be that guy. So, and you got to think about all the different, you know, pieces of this puzzle, and mine was, you know, I really want to get in there and fish those holes, and they're still there. We never stepped foot on the Osage Arm that week, and we decided that night before we're gonna go fish the Osage Arm, because I don't want to go in here and be sitting right where Matthew Rogers started the week before.
Right.
Because that's just going to look terrible, and you need to think about those
Right.
things.
Absolutely.
You know? And we went and fished the other arm, and we knew he was going. We had no chance of winning. We thought, you know, we might be able to hang in there, and it, you know, it didn't really work out for us. But we got what we could get over there, but we you know, when you're, like I said, when we were thinking about it, you know, it means don't do it. So, we didn't do it, and, but that won't happen. I mean, I'm in that same situation, it would happen again, but from the rest of the year,
Right.
it's all now.
Right.
It's all, Carter Masters is over.
It's over.
On Truman.
Yeah, that was a month ago.
Yeah.
Well, it was really, I mean, for me, very interesting to see all your perspectives. I think it's very applicable not only tournament fishermen, how to interact with other guys, but even passengers in boats that they're just riding along and they see their driver doing something that they can know and be like, hey bud, you know, let's back off a little bit. And that's just something in fishing that I'm hoping that we can do with this, not only educating about the fishing and how to find the fish, but how we be better stewards on the water and representatives of the sport of fishing. So,
And bro, it's changing.
Yeah.
And as much as we hate to see it changing, Truman Lake is changing. And it's always been one of the best kept secrets. And if you talk to anybody that fishes, they say, well, we don't fish Lake of the Ozarks after March and midday.
Yeah.
You can't do it. There's too many big boats. Hey, bud,
yeah,
they're showing up. And
Yeah.
we're getting a lot more and more and more every year. I've watched it for the last 20 years. I've watched just more and more and more and more big boats. And you see people doing things. And you know, learn your lake, know your lake,
Yep.
look at maps, look at whatever, get a good graph with a GPS something, because I see people pulling kids on tubes and I'll tell my clients, oh my gosh, yes. I'm like, oh,
There, what are you
Yeah.
doing?
I chased somebody down before to stop.
I have too, many times. I tell my clients, I'm like, those are step kids because nobody pulled little kids through there.
Well, it's not like them.
They're pulling step kids.
Yeah.
Look at them going through those
They're
streets.
getting ready to impale them when they fall off.
Yeah.
Oh, I've run people down like, look guys, you gotta move out here 300 yards. You're in a whole mecca.
Yep.
Of, you know, and the bigger boats, we got so many big boats coming to Truman now, and people just need to know, especially when the lake level's at it where it's at right now. Some of these boats, you know, draft a lot of water, you need a lot of water, and there's areas where you're in a lot of water.
And they also have to understand these lake levels over the years, the bottom changes and silt. And we're starting to see some of these humps out on these flats that are more visible this year even than it was last year at the, you know, the same lake level or 2 years ago. And I mean, you need to think about those things and look at maps, and so you don't hurt yourself. I mean, you can kill yourself.
These flood years, we've picked up some big logs in some areas that have come down. As the water comes down, these big logs come down and then they jam in. Well, now, there hasn't been a stump there ever. Now there's a stump there. And it's going to be there, you know, until the water gets way big again,
Yeah.
heavy current. And so it's just a lot, you know, as a boater, it's not just owning a boat, taking your online course if you're born after 85 and jump in and go. There's a lot to know.
Well, and that's where it comes into calling the Jeff Faulkenberry and Dillon Stockings of the world to get that education before you get on the water.
Yeah, but I blindfold everybody before I
Yeah.
This is gonna be a little fun.
That's what I do with my co-anglers.
Weren't we just here? Yeah, we were. Same spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just went a big circle.
So you get the followers.
Yeah.
I had this year, and it's so funny. We was on a pretty good bite, and Dillon even knows about it too because we were fishing some of the same areas. And people will wait. Like they'll see your picture on social media, they'll put their boat in, they'll wait in the no-wait buoys, you go get your minnows at the marina, you load your people up, you get your ice, everything, and then you leave, and then the next thing you know, you got this boat following you that was just out there floating around, and you're like, huh.
Yeah.
So you take off and you go and you run around the back. I ran around the backside of this island,
Jeff
and they follow me, and I just pull out and I just start fishing, you know, they start fishing or whatever. As soon as they get up, start fishing, I pull everything up and then take off again. Here they come again, you know. Well, then I just start stopping, you know, just idling in, weighing spots, and then they ask me, like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm looking for a spot to pee, but you keep following me.
Oh my God, that's.
But I will, I'll stop and fish something random.
Yeah.
If you see me fishing it, I'm probably not catching fish on it.
Trying to shake them.
Yeah. It gets bad. I mean, you guys know.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody knows how bad it is.
Well, what's tremendous is that for a lot of years I had a reputation of you never want to follow him.
I can tell you that.
Because
Took you for a ride.
I know the exact cuts
Yeah.
between two trees that my boat will fit through, that there's not one in the middle, and I will run straight lines from Bucksaw to wherever, and people are like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I can't, I started to follow you through that tree row, and I was like, ah! I was like, that's good.
That's a good idea.
I remember he was in behind the cedars across from Piney Boat Ramp one time. He was in behind, up on the bank. And he was in there and he was fishing. He reels up, picks her up, and just hammers it. Comes through those hedges, right across the 14 hump flat, right out through the thing, and I'm going, holy jeez!
Yeah.
I've got waypoints.
Yeah. Got a line. Got a line.
Wow.
You just gotta split those waypoints.
If I idle through there, I've ripped off 2 transducers and a lower unit.
It's great.
Right, but when you're idling, you're drawing.
Your odds go down at 70.
Yep.
That's right. He's
Yeah,
drawing
these-
6 inches.